final stage of Obama's presidency begins with a Republican-dominated Congress forcing him to decide whether he'll finish his presidency on offense or defense. Given the absolute lack of cooperation we've seen over the last 6 years, expecting different now is like Charlie Brown thinking this time Lucy won't pull the ball away. So we have a presidency at a crossroads. Does Obama accept his lame duckness, or does he do what he thinks is right and what he believes will best bolster his legacy and act with the freedom of someone liberated from the weight of electoral politics? Yes, they will call him imperial for taking executive action, but if his promises still matter, if his principles still matter, if his legacy still matters, if progressives matter at all, then he's going to have to grab a pen and do executive action on immigration reform. On Wednesday, the president sounded resolute and defiant and certain that if Republicans don't do something, he will.
If they want to get a bill done, whether it's during the lame duck or next year, I'm eager to see what they have to offer. But what I'm not going to do is just wait.
Surprise, Republicans are not thinking that I'm right.
It's like waving a red flag in front of a bull to say, if you guys don't do what I want, I'm going to do it on my own.
But listen, folks, there are so many reasons for the president to move on this. Polling consistently finds a strong majority of Americans think undocumented immigrants should be eligible for citizenship and believes immigrants strengthen rather than burden the country. As the New York Times points out today, it is counterproductive to have Homeland Security and American law enforcement spending finite time and resources chasing working people who have put roots down in this country and pose no threat, rather than focusing on violent criminals and terrorists. The economic argument for normalizing immigrants also remains strong, as the 11 million who currently live in the shadows would pay more taxes and be paid more money, thus turning them into better consumers, thus stimulating our economy. And there are critical political arguments here. For Democrats to maintain their strong relationship with America's fastest growing demographic, they must act. Decades ago, Democrats proved to black Americans that the party will stand up for them and that the federal government can solve big problems, and that has made black people a core part of the Democratic tent. The continued viability of the core Democratic argument that the federal government can attack big problems and can deliver for oppressed groups is at stake. And with all of that said, this is an issue with real human stakes. Rich and poor nations around the globe recognize their moral responsibility to help when the poorest, most beleaguered residents of nearby nations come over the border needing refuge from civil war or famine or some other displacing catastrophe. As one of the world's richest nations, we can embrace these millions and we would benefit from it. There are at least 11 million people living in America who need movement on immigration, and in the White House there is a president who has seemed to be above politics. Well, there's no better time than the lame duck to be above politics and do something big that will help millions. Mr. President, I have supported you through everything, but this is my red line. If you can't do something to protect these millions from deportation and end up going down as the deporter-in-chief, then you have lost even me.